Going to be reviewing the GReddy Supreme SP exhaust for the Honda S2000. This one's a 2004 AP2. So let's hear how it sounds. So kind of just full disclosure, I've actually never driven an S2000 with a factory exhaust. So I'm not exactly sure kind of how to compare it to that. Literally the only S2000 that I've been able to drive and hear is another AP2, so that's with a 2.2 liter. But that one was straight piped, so as you can imagine, it was pretty loud. This car, it's still factory header and factory cat. The only thing is that's different exhaust-wise is the GReddy Supreme SP exhaust. You can tell from just normal driving, it's actually pretty quiet. It's relatively tame. The only thing I can, I guess, kind of nitpick about is that it does kind of drone. I mean, reading a lot of aftermarket S2000 exhaust reviews, it seems like droning is typically a pretty big issue, especially with the dual exhaust setups, just because if you don't have basically the two pipes on either side at equal length, you're going to run into kind of some droning issues. I know a lot of people say that this is a relatively mild exhaust in terms of sound level. And yeah, I'll agree. It's not, you know, too loud or anything like that. When you kind of get on it, you can still hear a decent amount of intake noise even on engagement of VTEC. But it is quite drony, in my opinion, and this is obviously not really having been experienced to any other aftermarket exhaust setups. But around like the 3,000 to 3,500 RPM range, I feel like the drone is there. It's not a drone-free exhaust by any means. Is it unbearable? I wouldn't say so. I mean, noise-wise, it's actually better with the top down. These S2000s aren't known for being the quietest car or anything like that. I'm just going to be getting onto just a little kind of local freeway here, so I'll open it up a bit. Probably won't be able to stretch out the legs too much. So that's me taking it out to about roughly 5,000 RPM. I'll put it into fifth right now, and it will probably be around the area where I, discuss about kind of the drone. So yeah, around 3,000 and between like 3,500, you do hear kind of some boominess. It's not the worst, and usually it's actually not, especially on the highway, because you're actually revving a little bit higher than that if you're going typical highway speed, so it's not too bad. Right now I just put it in 6, going roughly around 80 kilometers an hour, and it's sitting at about 2,700 RPM. And at this RPM, it's very quiet. It's very livable. You're probably hearing a lot more just kind of road and wind and water noise around me. The roads are kind of wet right now. We've been getting a lot of rain. So right now we're just at a stoplight, and you can hear it. I don't know if the mic will pick it up, but you can hear it idling. It's relatively tame. It has a nice little low rumble to it. You just mildly drive it. I think it sounds actually pretty decent. And from what I've been told, I actually haven't had a chance to hear this car from the outside, but what I've been told is that it's actually relatively tame on the outside. It's not loud or anything like that. Obviously it is probably definitely louder than the OEM exhaust, and I'd actually be very curious to hear what an OEM exhaust sounds like, especially in terms of drone. The OEM exhaust, it comes with the Helmholtz resonator. So what that is, it's another pipe that's welded, in the S2000's case, perpendicular to the actual exhaust. It actually cancels out resonance, so I believe that they would have designed it to cancel out that drone that I'm probably hearing at that like 3,500 to 3,000 RPM. sure. I know GReddy, they had, I think it was called the SE Elite. I'll maybe put a correction if I got that name wrong. But that exhaust was kind of considered an OEM plus upgrade because it was a dual exhaust, just like the OEM one, but it had a Helmholtz resonator. I'm not 100% sure if this particular exhaust has it. Again, I'll kind of address myself if that's incorrect too. But if it doesn't have it, that would kind of explain the drone for me. But in all honesty, it's perfectly fine for just driving around, and it's not, you know, too intrusive or anything like that. So here's a little shot of the GReddy Supreme SP exhaust. I don't know if you can make it out. It does have a little GReddy engraving basically on the tips. And if you look at the car from the back, it does fill out the exhaust holes quite nicely, and you see nice dual cans. So overall, I think the look of the exhaust is quite nice. It's a stainless steel construction. I believe it's a 2.5-inch exhaust setup. It's not really meant for kind of high power or anything like that, but I think GReddy does claim around like a 5-ish horsepower gain with the exhaust. Most people for S2000 exhaust, they generally do the exhaust for sounds and looks. The factory exhausts for the AP2s, they're kind of similar. They're more of an oval shaped tip, but if you actually look at them, the actual exhaust portion is smaller. I believe the stock is also a 2.5, but it might choke down in some areas. So obviously this will see some flow gains over stock.